Do you keep finding yourself in this vicious circle where you're gonna get organized, do really well, and then in a matter of days, you just get in complete and utter chaos? Because this messy clean cycle is something that I have been struggling with for as long as I can remember. I want to help share with you some things that I did to reorganize my space to help me break this cycle. Once I decided to reorganize my space, I found myself a lot less overwhelmed and I've spent a lot less time cleaning and organizing and more time creating. About 1 year ago, I made this video and I set out a bunch of goals to follow through in 2021 to keep this space clean. I did follow through on quite a few of these goals. It did take me a while to kind of figure it out and come up with a system, but I followed through on quite a few, but I keep finding myself in this cycle where I would get really organized or semi-organized and then really, really messy, and then really, really organized or semi-organized and really, really messy. And I needed to get out of that cycle. I'm not a naturally organized person, and as somebody who lives with anxiety and ADHD and 2 toddlers, I work from home and my husband works from home. There's like a lot going on here that it's really hard to maintain a clean space. But instead of focusing on what I was doing wrong and saying that I'm failing and all of the things that I'm doing are making things worse, I decided to flip the switch. I found somebody on TikTok. Her book is called Struggle Care. I highly recommend if this is something you struggle with. But I flipped it so it's not me failing. How can I fundamentally change the area around me so I have an easier time with keeping things more organized? I want to be clear that I am not perfect. I value progress over perfection, and as somebody with the struggles that I have and 2 small children, I will not be 100% organized all of the time. It's irresponsible for me to even think that that's a possibility. All I want to do is minimize the time that I spend cleaning and organizing and open up the space to create more and just have mental capacity to walk into this space and not feel overwhelmed by the clutter. Let me show you what my space looked like before. Since I decided to reorganize a few things, I have found myself less and less in this tornado-like situation where things do get unorganized, but not nearly this bad, or if they do, it is way less often than it used to be. After my latest binge clean and I got it all organized, I was like, why can't I keep this space clean? Why does it get so bad so often? And really taking a step back and evaluating the space for what it is, leaving me out of it, right? Not blaming myself, not thinking about the ways I need to change. I thought, you know what? Why don't I change the space to fit what I need, not the other way around? So I evaluated my space and I thought, is there a way I can change things around to make things easier for myself? That I can keep my mess more contained? Or any way to make this less bad than it is? What can I do? I recommend that before stepping back and evaluating your space, you do tidy up just a little bit. It is really hard to get a clear picture and feel not overwhelmed when you're sitting in a room that is just extremely cluttered and extremely messy. I recommend that you tidy up a little bit first, and here's how I recommend that you do that. To tidy, I want you to break it up into 3 things. First, go around and remove any trash or things that shouldn't be there, like dishes or water bottles or random things that shouldn't be in that space. Remove them, as well as any trash that you have let pile up. Remove the trash cans, any sort of scraps that you have laying around. Get all of the trash and anything that doesn't belong out of the space. The next thing you're going to do is put away all of the things that have a home. If you know where they go and where they live, put those things away. And third, I want you to gather everything that doesn't have a home. And you can kind of do this at the same time, but make a pile in the middle of the room with all of the things that don't have anywhere to live. Somewhere that you haven't found a designated place for them to stay, put those things in the middle of your room. And then you should be pretty tidy, right? Not super organized. It doesn't have to be perfect, but at least where you can step back and evaluate the space. Once everything is back in its place, look around your space. Is there anywhere that has a lot of stuff, right? Is there a lot of stuff crammed on your desktop? Is there a lot of stuff crammed in your drawers? Look at it and see what it looks like. Because if you have spaces that are busting at the seams with stuff and you try to add something else, it's automatically messy, right? It's automatically having too many things and already cluttered. So you need to evaluate each little area of your room or space to see how much stuff is there, because having too much stuff in one spot is a recipe for disaster. If you're looking at a space and it has too many things, remove some of them, right? Remove some of the things and put them in your pile of things that don't have a home. We're gonna add those to the pile in the middle of the room. And we're gonna ignore that pile while we think about all of the stuff that does have a place. And we're gonna think about how can you reorganize it so it works better for you. Let me give you an example of what I did. Before I reorganized, my silhouette was on this desk behind me, my vinyl was over here, and my garbage can was like right here. So everything was very spread out, which made it difficult not only to get myself to put the trash in the garbage, but to then put my vinyl away because it was in separate places than I would usually sit right where I am right now to do my project. So I wasn't gonna go back and get things where they were supposed to be. It just didn't work for me. That's what I had pile up. I had vinyl pile up, I had transfer tape piling up, right? All of those things just were not in a good spot. So what I did was I moved them all nearby each other. Over here, I put my silhouette on this desk, I put all of my vinyl right underneath, and I have a new trash can that goes underneath this table. I got a second trash can so I would have no excuses but to put the garbage in the garbage can. So I grouped together my like projects. All of my sublimation is in one corner now, all of my vinyl and cutting is in one corner, all of my cups and supplies are all in one place, so everything is localized to keep everything close together. Once you think about how you can move a few things around so you are sort of creating zones in your space, I want you to think about the activities or the projects that seem to create the most clutter or the most mess. So for example, me, when I do my live stream every single Monday, I end up with so much stuff everywhere. And because right after my live stream is over, I run upstairs to try to get my kids to bed, I didn't deal with it right away, which made it harder and harder to deal with as time went on and the mess got worse. So if you have a specific activity or specific something that tends to make a lot of mess, what can you do to contain all of the supplies? What I did was I got this cart from Michael's and I put everything that I need for a live stream in this cart. I use it outside of my live stream as well, but maybe it's like a decal day for you, or maybe it's like glitter day or whatever. What supplies can you put all in one place so it's not only easy to find things, it's super easy to put it away because I have it right next to me during that activity. So that just leaves our pile in the middle of the room, okay? Now we have this good space, we've kind of created our zones, we've thought about how we can intentionally make things easier and contain our supplies, but we have to find somewhere for the stuff that's left to live. Because without a home, you're asking for clutter. This is what I used to do. I used to like have a few things that I didn't really have a home for, so I just moved them around and be like, okay, it's on this table. Well, now I need that table, so I gotta move it over here. And I was just moving it around, and it just created a more of a sense of clutter and mess that I needed to get rid of. And then ask yourself, why does this pile not have a home? Why do these items not have anywhere to live? Is there somewhere for them to live, or do you need to make more space? Here are some ways that I have made a little bit more space and added storage in my room so everything has a place to live. First, I got these drawers from Michael's and IKEA. This one I have all of my vinyl and I have it organized by style. Over here by my printer, this is where I put all of my copy paper and sticker paper and label paper and anything I would need to go with my printer, I have in these drawers over here. One of the biggest ways that I have made more space is to utilize wall space. I am very lucky that I have a lot of wall space here in my basement, so I got some spice racks for glitter to keep those out of the way, as well as my pegboard that I used to have some shelves and other things up there, but I wasn't really utilizing it to its full potential, so I decided to actually put my cups up there to dry, and it is that I absolutely love having my cups dry on the wall. It has created a lot more space for me to work. And then you really have to ask yourself, do you need that stuff? If you still can't find a space after reorganizing and utilizing some wall space and buying all the storage, then honestly, you just have too much stuff. Because if you're anything like me, you also not only are addicted to making things, but you're addicted to buying things to make, right? So I have a couple suggestions for you. You need to get rid of things. Or you need to like put it away in storage, like in a crawl space or somewhere else in a closet that You know you're not going to miss it, but you may want it for later. Grab some bins and really just pack it away. But it's so helpful for you to just get rid of things. I've spent the last 3 months like getting rid of so much stuff, and while it was hard, it was also such a weight lifted off my shoulders. I went on Facebook and went into some de-stash groups and on Facebook Marketplace, and I sold a lot of my stuff. I have friends that do crafts, so I gave away like all of my heat transfer vinyl that I just don't use anymore at all, and I just was happy to get rid of things that I wasn't going to use. I feel so much better having less stuff. And now that we're approaching the holidays and people are having a hard time sourcing materials, you know, with all of the supply chain issues, you will probably have a lot of success getting rid of anything extra that you don't need because there's probably somebody who needs it. And I know that we accumulate a lot of stuff and it's really hard to sort through it. So I am here for you. I see you. And if you want the list of my essentials for tumbler making, like not all the wants, but just the essentials, click the video on your screen and I will go through all of my favorite tools. And next week with my email list, I'm going to be doing a craft room declutter challenge. So make sure you're on the email list. I will put that link up on the screen and in the description box below.